and welcome to the Today Show. I'm your host, Christopher Power with Cogeco, your TV Halton on the Disability Channel. Our guest today is a 23-time award winner, writer, producer, actor, and action star. A man named Best Breakout Male Action Star at the International Film Festival, a multilingual dreamboat, co-founder of the Movie Expo, a background in karate, Greco wrestling, and kung fu and capoeira. Stay tuned for Tazito Garcia. Tazito, thank you for your time and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How is it going?
Come on a day like today, I can't be doing any better that I got you here, buddy. This is fabulous.
Hey, look at that. Smooth criminal. What's up? Thanks for having me, man.
No, of course. I was following your social media stuff there. You had a pretty big audition, in my opinion, not too long ago that you had posted. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can't, but let's just say it is an audition for a massive company that has a lot of the superhero franchises under now. So that's all I could say. Starts with a D.
Fair enough. Well, listen, you're the founder of the Movie Expo. And not many people know of the Movie Expo, and certainly I go every year. I'm sure you've seen my face and are tired of it by now. But for those who don't know what the Movie Expo is, where can they get more information and where can they learn about this?
So the Movie Expo is something that was created from a journey of struggle, perseverance, and passion. And being in the industry for over 20 years now, I've seen how a lot of people, especially in the city, which is Toronto, there's a lot of talent and a lot of people that will go to school, they will get their degrees, they have the passion, but where do you go from there? And that is kind of the missing link, the missing gap. So my partner and I sat together and said, listen, we know the struggle, we know the light, we had hoped somebody was there to shine down the line for us and at the end of that tunnel for us. Why don't we be that light? Why don't we be that guide? We can only show you and take you so much, but at least we'll guide you to the door. And that's how the Movie Expo was born. So in a nutshell, the Movie Expo is currently the largest networking and educational platform in Canada. That highlights, of course, the heroes behind the scenes as well, which includes casting, producing, makeup artists, stunts, coaches, agents, all the people, writers. I mean, the list goes on. Composers, the list truly goes on and on and on. But it is the unsung heroes that typically the focus is on the stars. The focus is on the people that are in front of the camera. But we also wanted to pay respect and tribute and really shine a light on all the stars that make it happen behind the scenes. So all put together, we've got, this opportunity that truly helps you network with the people that can offer you the opportunity for your next gig, for your next audition, for your next job. And the ultimate dream is for every year, a bunch of people to get together that are talented, creative, wear different hats, and to continuously keep creating together, because it is a very collaborative process. And that's ultimately why the expo was there. And if you want to find out any more information, of course, you could Google Movie Expo, or you could go movie-expo.com and you'll get all the information you need on there.
Now, most of our viewers, when they look at acting and they see it as a job or a career path, and you mentioned there are a lot of many hats, and you and I certainly know this, but for those who don't, when we look at putting together a movie production and we hire on the actors and, it's the hurry up and wait scenario. In your opinion, when we look at the multitude of hats and the multitude of jobs that are there, it's not just about acting and writing. What other opportunities, in your opinion, are at the Movie Expo that people can kind of connect with?
Honestly, every single thing from A to Z, and I'm not tooting our horn, it truly is. The very first year when we had it in person before the pandemic kicked in, we had different stations and different zones. So basically, say, for example, we had one that was called the danger zone. And if you were curious to know how stunts worked, how rigging worked, how the special effects worked, how the training or what style to go and learn, even if you were an amateur, a brand new person that's never thrown a kick or a punch in their life, you would go to that zone and they could rig you up and you understand how it works. And you know, you will get demos with how real fighting could be very different than real fighting, meaning on action, on camera, is very different than if you're fighting, say, in an octagon during the UFC. And if you wanted to understand the makeup, there was different kinds of makeup. So we called it the transformation way, right? And within the transformation way, because you could go in looking the way we do, and you could come out looking like you're 80 with special effects makeup, or they could add dreads on you, or they could give you scars and cuts. Or we had the guys that created the Predator mask, so we had it there, and how where the inspiration came from. So every single department you could think of had its journey and had its professionals that truly told you why they got into it, who inspired them to get into it, and how you could follow that path, and of course the importance of it, and how it's really, really, truly important. Sure, you could do a lot of stuff in post-production nowadays in editing, but how much easier would it be if a lot of the stuff was done in reality or on set, so it saves you some time in editing and in post-production, and of course you don't have to deal with the typical we'll fix it in post, right? So it's really, really, really awesome for anyone that truly was looking to get into music, looking to get into writing, into casting, even into training the professionals, how they get fit. Say, for example, we had Thor and Rocky's trainer, right? He was there and he's like, this is what I did for Rocky, which was different for Hemsworth, which was different for Bruce Willis for Die Hard. And then, you know, I worked with Affleck as a completely different way, because these guys wanted to lean out. He wanted to bulk up for Batfleck. And this is his sleep pattern. This is the test he had to go through. This is his nutrition. So those are truly the people that make it happen for the screen. And really, we just sit here and we take it for granted. We're like, oh man, look at him, he looks amazing. But you totally forget that for Superman, for Iron Man to be really impressive, who came up with the costume idea and how many tries did it take, and who made this suit fly or float or pulsar rays, or whether it's a laser from the eyes. It would be extremely boring if you didn't have the respective teams and departments taking care of their jobs and being professionals at it. And that was ultimately the best thing when it was in person. And again, we share a certain part of that during the virtual hybrid that we've had to kind of adapt to during the pandemic, in a sense where it is such an exciting journey that even if you are not in the film industry, you are not looking or aspiring to become a performer or a filmmaker. My mother had fun. You know, we've had producers that came in that were, yeah, we dish out the money, or we rack up and bring the talent on set, but we've never seen the chasing car from John Wick, or what kind of crane or what kind of camera was used. And literally, it's like being at you know, the chocolate factory, right? It's wow. And that's ultimately what it is. And people truly, even when they go in and they come out, they leave with a completely different set of eyes and respect to the industry. That it is very serious. It is a very tough industry. And that a lot of it, there's a lot that goes into creating one movie that ends up being 60 seconds or 60 minutes or 90 minutes. There's a lot of heart, there's a lot of thought, there's a lot of planning. Let's just say that's the tip of the iceberg that goes into it. And of course, talent behind that in front of the scenes.
Now, speaking of wow, I mean, it's a lot of ambition and passion to be in the industry to start with, and then create the movie expo that you've done here. It's the amount of ambition and passion that you have. You can hear it in your voice as you're speaking. But when you say, you know, the wow, you actually have 2 published books out on Amazon. One
What?
is No to Wow Budget, and the other is Zero to Hero. So when we talk about these No to Wow budgets, perfect, and the Zero to Hero, tell us the difference between the two of them. What was the drive behind writing these?
So when the pandemic hit, a lot of my friends uh, were thinking about quitting the industry. And I was like, hold on a second. Listen, I understand it's really tough as it is. Now you have the pandemic that minimizes the crew and the cast that's on set. It minimizes the auditions. It minimizes how many productions are happening at a time because of restrictions. Why don't you use it to build? This is a great time instead of just sitting there and saying, well, I'm busy. Yeah, sure. I've always wanted to write something, but I'm busy. Oh, I always wanted to. I wish I could have. I was like, stop wishing. Here's my journey of filmmaking when times were really slow for me as an actor. When I first started off, I signed up with an agency actually, and they said, you're probably going to have one or two auditions every 3 to 6 months. And I was like, hell no, not happening, because I was hungrier than that. So nothing wrong with waiting, but it wasn't me. So if you come on as my agent, I'm like, cool, now there's two sharks in this pond. And I'm still going to be hunting and I'm still going to be hungry. And no matter how much work I've done, I always remember my first day. And that keeps me hungry. That keeps me humble and it keeps me going. Because if you cruise control, you're going to have someone that will be where you were on your first day, super hungry, super ambitious, and they're going to zoom right past you. And you're going to be like, what the hell? What just happened? Right? I was ahead of that person. But you decided to take it easy and cruise control, or sit and wish and hope something dropped on your lap. So I kind of came up with this perspective, and they said, you know what, that's great. And I was like, listen, you guys are actors. I get it. But I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 of you guys had at least wished to be cast in something you still haven't been cast in, whether it's a dramatic role, an action role, a lead role. Why don't you write something
Right.
and shoot it? And of course, that was a great idea, but followed up by, well, I don't know what camera to use. I don't know what lens I should have. I don't know about lighting. I don't know about cinematography. And even if I'm there, who else is going to come that will do that for me? And that's when the first book came about. And I said, it's how to make it from a no to low budget, which literally my first few projects, zero budget.
Mm-hmm.
Full transparency, I told everyone that was on board what they were getting, which was 1080. Obviously, that was super impressive at the time when we started back in 08 and 09. And I was like, this is what you're going to get in return. Reels and footage of you having FaceTime, not background, and whatever it is you needed to be highlighted, whether you were a makeup artist, you were going to get your behind the scenes footage, whether you were a stunt performer, you were going to get yourself falling and taking the hits and delivering the blows. If you were an actor, you were going to get some FaceTime, at least 30 seconds, which you could chop up however you see fit for your demo reel. And obviously I failed a lot, but then through doing, I learned a lot. And I put all my mishaps and all my successes and how I made it and how now, thanks to social media, it's become almost the norm. Every single one of us has it. Almost every single one of us has a smartphone or smart device that can shoot, it can edit, it can upload from one device. Before you had to shoot it on one, figure if another device could understand this, or you needed certain plugins and certain wires, and it was such a hassle. But now there's no excuse, and literally everyone is a writer, everyone is an editor, everyone is a composer at some level, and everyone is a filmmaker at some level / performer, right? Even the challenges that come up on TikTok and Instagram and the other platforms, right? Think of it. Something as simple as you taking a family photo and telling grandma and grandpa and dad and mom and cousin, hey, a little closer, a little closer. Okay, all right. Skadoosh. That's it. That's it. That's directing already. You're a director unofficially, right? So I changed that perspective and I shared everything they needed, literally, from understanding how to storyboard, understanding how to find talent, how to get locations for next to nothing, communication planning, obviously if you have some form of budget, how you can get a camera, if you've got your phone, how you could use it, understanding lighting. And of course, one of the most important things is thinking the business side, which is a loophole that a lot of us have fallen in, including myself at the very beginning. We're very creative. We all want to create stuff. We love it, and we'll do it for free. But at some point, we got to understand we got to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea here, which I share, is after you've done your short, you could use that as a POC or a proof of concept to leverage that for festivals. Of course, you've got that. But at the same time, now you could directly approach agents or streaming platforms or investors and say, listen, here's what I could do for next to nothing. Would you guys be willing to give me $500 or $5,000 or whatever it is, the amount, and rinse and repeat with different people? Because at the end of the day, we're creative, so we could understand if I come here and tell you how I'm going to shoot it, how I'm going to edit it, and how it's going to look by the end of it. But a lot of the money people, unfortunately, are not that creative. They're numbers people. And it's just like anything else. They want to see the potential. And that kind of breaks it down all in here with a few bonus free softwares that you could use, whether it's writing, editing, cinematography, color grading, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's all in here, and that's kind of how this was born. And I was super, super happy to see a lot of people literally read that and go make their movies, and it entirely changed their mindset from almost quitting to saying, listen, I've always been told what to do. What if I could understand how to give and make the calls and how to edit and how to stand? And in fact, it made a lot of people better actors, better performers, because now you realize, wow, if you're standing there for half an hour and they're adjusting lighting or framing, you're like, what's taking so long? When you're on the other side, you get it. And you understand why. If someone's like, all right, just hold it there, and you go reach for something, you come back, you're here, and it's a completely different focus now. And you understand that. So it makes you better, it makes you sharper as a performer overall. So that's the first one. And then the second one over here, a lot of people wanted to get into action, and that's why I called it Zero to Hero. And it breaks it down in a nutshell from understanding what works in real life, what works for film, similarities, differences, safety for guns, safety for weapons, how to capture it, how to shoot it, how to edit it, different styles, what's the best style,
Right.
Hong Kong versus Hollywood, how to edit it, quick edits, camera shake, keeping it steady, nice and clean. And it's for all levels. And it really has everything, including stretches at the very beginning. Old school, how you could do it. So if you're not flexible, don't worry. I know a lot of times people see this, they're like, well, I'm not flexible, I'm not strong enough. I was like, don't worry, that's why the book is there, or that's why you can take a class, right? So that's the story behind these two books.
Beautiful. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Today Show. I'm your host, Christopher Power, and our guest today is Action Performer of the Year and Icon Award winner, Tazito Garcia. Now, you actually work internationally as an actor, both here in Canada, Ontario, and Toronto, and internationally. What is the biggest difference you find between acting locally and acting internationally?
The workflow, I'll just leave it at that. I just really have to say it's the workflow. Meaning here you've got unions that could protect you, and you've got hours where it's kind of like, okay, well, it's been 12 hours overtime, maybe push to 16, 18. Over there, it's like, nope, 22. We still got to get it
Wow.
done. Still got to keep going. Plus, here, say pre-production, they got to build a set, and it'll take 2 weeks to build, or 2 months to build. Over there, they're gonna hire 2 or 3 different teams to make sure it's done within 3-4 days. And of course, sometimes you're gonna have politics where it's kind of like who built the most, or was it team one that established
Yeah.
this much, and team two, they're like, we don't care, just get it done. Right here, it's one of those things where union versus non-union, or this company's got exclusivity and that's it, nobody else could touch it, for safety, for whatever else in between that happens. Over there, it's like go, 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 make it happen now. And that's why they're really efficient. Now that I think about it, probably another one that helps them pump out a lot of content is in Asia, that is, they have in-house talent and crew. Meaning,
Okay.
at any point in time, say they want to come up with some kind of soap opera or some kind of show, episodic, it's really easy for them. They've got their director, they've got their producer, they've got their gear, and they've got their talent that they know that's their niche or niche. And they come out and they shoot it 7 episodes, bang it out in like 2 weeks and done. Whereas here, it's more, we got to cast, we got to find the right people. Is it going to be from US, Canada, Australia, UK, that kind of thing? And it takes a while, and callbacks. And so over there, they've got it like clockwork. So those are two truly very different things than the West and the East.
Now, when you talk about workflow and these callbacks, we seemingly are living in a more instantaneous world. Like, you didn't like my Instagram post or my YouTube video. And when we look at the industry, there's so many unknown factors of why someone didn't get a role. And often we're never told, hey, Taz, you didn't get the role and this is why. When you look back on all the auditions that you've done and the work that you've performed, do you recall an audition that you just didn't understand why you didn't get the role, and that type of rejection? And how do you move past that as an actor?
So when you first get started in the industry, obviously you're looking at it like, okay, well, sometimes you even got to sign a contract, and for whatever unforeseen reason, something happens behind the scenes, producers or distribution or even politics. We're talking on governments and country level. So that's completely out of control. But I recall one of them where I went in for an audition, and it was for the Power Rangers, and I did really, really well. I booked the part. I had a contract signed. I had the script. Everything was good to go. And they said, we're going to fly down to New Zealand, because that's where the majority of the production was going to happen. And then we were also going to get in probably 2 or 3 weeks earlier, before production would start for the toys, right? So they were going to get some headshots done, some pictures and videos and motion captures and all that for these little collectibles of toys. It was way before Funkos and all that kind of stuff they have now. But yeah, so I was like, whoa, this is amazing. This is every kid's dream. This is something that truly inspired me when I was a kid. So I'd love to be part of that inspiration journey for the next generation, and so on. So everything's good to go. They asked for my passport to get me a work visa to go and work there, obviously,
Sure.
legally. And then 2 days later, I went to pick it up, and they're like, sorry, we had to recast you. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we had to recast you. I was like, what are you talking about? I had the script, it's signed, everything was there. And long story short, they said I was not black enough.
Oh,
So after quite the back and forth, I mean, everything was so professional, but I really wanted to understand what happened, why the sudden change of heart. And that was it, literally. So one of the guys took me to the side and he said, it's just because you're not black enough. And that was the last season that they ever had where the Power Rangers, really, the colors represented an ethnicity. And at the time, I don't blame them, because I could get really, really dark, and it's not the first time someone's mistaken my identity or my ethnic background. So, but by the time I went to pick it up, I looked a few shades lighter, and I had no clue that it wasn't based on skill for acting in martial arts. It was truly the number one call was that they were representing a culture or ethnicity. And I was like, wow, deep. Okay. I didn't see that happen or coming, and that was it. Right. So that's something that happened very early. And actually that also switched my trajectory from the drama side and the comedy side, which is something that I love and something I really wanted to get into initially, to getting into action, right? Because the casting director at the time, with the director and the writer, they're like, everything we've seen you do today is something we haven't seen ever, or quite often here in Canada especially. So keep doing whatever you can possibly do physically. The acting, without the action, you could do when you get older. There's no time or deadline for that. But the action, the older you get, the slower you're going to get, the more harsh the injuries are going to be. So keep doing whatever you could do now while you're still young. And it really kind of, I was like, ding, that light went on, and I was like, okay, I think they're right. I think that's what I'm going to do. And that's kind of how I became known as the action guy ever since that audition. And that's that. So yeah, so something good came out of it. I always look for the good that comes out of it, and that's that. Yep.
So when we look at you being the action guy, you're actually working on a project, or recently worked on a project called Extraction. This is where you get to be the action guy again.
So funny story with that is it's a film that's starring Jackie Chan and originally Sylvester Stallone, and then they went a little past the deadline of getting started because of weather complications, and then John Cena stepped up instead of Stallone. So now it's Jackie Chan and Cena. And originally they cast me as the rebel leader. So I was going to be, so my boss in the movie is Pilo Asbeck, who plays Euron in Game of Thrones. And he's kind of their kryptonite. He's kind of like the antagonist. And I play his muscle. But originally they cast me as a rebel leader. Everything's good. Booked my tickets. 17 hours before I fly out, they're like, we've got a problem. I was like, why? What is it? What is it with these last minute problems? No. So they're like, well, director loves you. He still wants to use you, but he thinks you look a little too young. I was like, dude, we've been going back and forth for 2 months. What are you talking about? What? Suddenly I aged? Backwards, that is. And so they're like, okay, we're going to have to come up with a new character. And they came up with this character called Paddock's Mercenary. So I'm basically his muscle in the movie. They're like, well, it's fewer lines, but you get to fight Jackie Chan and John Cena. I was like, done. Screw my lines. I'll do it. So yes, it is an action role. But the funny thing is, when I got there, they were like, hold on, you're an actor. Stay in your trailer. We're going to get your stunt double. I was like, hell no, get away from there. I was like, no. Get out of here.
The action guy for a reason. You can't have a stunt
I was like,
double.
no. It's really, really funny. Hilarious, man. It was really, really good time. So yeah, that's like I said, this was due to come out in 2020. And because of complications with the pandemic and COVID and all that kind of fun stuff, it pushed all the dates back. And then politics got in the way between the countries. So who knows what's going to happen, if it's going to see day of light. But word is it's going to come out streaming, hopefully end of this year. So, but like I said, I'm just like you. I'm like, yeah, we shot it great times. And I got a stack upon stacks of pictures that I can't share. So fun times. Yeah.
You know, you got to keep me in the loop when you get information about that one coming out.
The second I do, trust me, you're going to be the first to know.
Well, I'm on the list for sure.
It's crazy.
Listen, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be
all about inclusion and really giving everyone a fair say.
Welcome to the Today Show. This is our flagship show. I am Unstoppable Tracy.
I am Zach Damon.
It is a pleasure to be here. I am excited. What is up?
We have a great show today.
Jay Stoyan here for the Disability Channel, the world's only inclusive channel for and by persons with disabilities.
Get ready to be inspired, everyone.
We have people watching from all over the world, but also all over Ontario.
We also take a concerted attention in the veterans community.
In moments of stress and trauma, we can get a hold of ourselves.
To help make a difference for people with disabilities, to show people how to love themselves or their disability.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me, giving this platform for myself and other people with disabilities.
Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this episode of the Disability Channel Detroit. Please tune in next time.
Welcome back to the Today Show. I'm your host, Christopher Bauer. Our guest today is the incredible Tazito Garcia, who is going to be fighting two fabulous people soon to your silver screen. I want to ask, do you lose?
Eventually.
Tell me if you lose, or we'll take it. Yeah, I mean,
Eventually. I mean,
and
it's such a boring story. Eventually, the hero wins.
Never the villain.
God. Eventually,
So,
yeah.
With your experience and you've set up these corporations, you've set up these events and these festivals, and you're acting, you're producing, you're writing, you're the action guy, you're doing it all. Do you prefer to be in front of the camera or behind it?
Ooh. Truthfully, I love doing both. But if I had to choose one, it would probably come off as the entertainer first. I love entertaining people, making people laugh, making people have a great time, getting together. That's me. In terms of directing and doing everything behind the scenes, I truly enjoy it. And I just see it like it's two parallel things. It's apples and oranges. You can't really compare them in that sense. But I try for as long as I can to stay on the performing side, because you can really get lost in the directing world, in a sense where you could lose yourself. And even when you put that actor hat back in, if you're on someone's set, if that director mind starts clicking and you're like, why would they start with this? Why are they doing that? What? $80K for this? Could have got it for $8, right? So yeah.
I think we've all been on that stuff where it's wow, I did this on a shoestring budget and you did that for 80K.
Yeah.
I think we're in the wrong. Yeah. So what are you currently working on that you can share with us?
Currently there's a Hallmark style movie that it's actually one of 5 that I wrote during the first round of shutdowns. So that's moving forward and it's in pre-production right now. And then there's another one I think I can share. It's called The Emotional Terrorist. That's going to be filming early fall. So we're talking late August, early September.
Okay,
Yep.
So a hallmark to The Emotional Terrorist.
Yep. So that's 2 different ones that we're going to be working on. Fun times.
Now, does the villain win in The Emotional Terrorist, or is that?
Oh, it's not mine. So you're going to have to wait for that one.
Fair enough.
Yep. You're going to have to wait for that one.
Now, an odd question, and you'll be the first person I've asked this to. If you could portray anybody in a biopic type of film, a docudrama, if you will, who would that be?
If I could portray them, or if they could portray me?
No, you got to portray them.
Ooh. I would say Dwayne Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say Dwayne Johnson because, yeah, I could see that. There's lots of similarities in the early stages of our lives and kind of how it is, but also the genuine factor and truly being there for the people, listening to the people, giving the people what they want, that kind of thing. And yeah. And also the same thing with our path in terms of the pro sports. That didn't work out, but he's got his reasons, I've got my reasons. And then so I mean, I think there wouldn't be too much acting in that. It would be from very, very true and real, honest, genuine places.
Beautiful. And where can people learn more about you and the projects that you're working on?
Google. No, don't believe everything you read. But so super easy. Taz Garcia or Tazito Garcia.com, and please follow me on social media. Taz Garcia Official. Make sure it's Taz Garcia Official. There's so many other accounts out there that are not me. I'm trying to get this Instagram verified. My Facebook's already verified because I do a lot of charities, and sometimes people use and abuse that. They're like, hey, yeah, I'm doing this charity, please send me money. And then I hear from someone that they sent this account money, but it wasn't me. So Taz Garcia Official, that's my Instagram. And if you want to hop on my website, it's tazitogarcia.com. And of course, my Facebook and everything else is very easy. It'll pop up. They are all connected with each other. IMDb, same thing. And if you just Google that, something will pop up. And feel free to shoot me a message. I'm human. I love interacting. I love meeting new people. And truly, I love helping people because I would love to be that beacon of hope and that helping hand that I wish I had when I first started off. It's an industry that's all about who you know, not just what you know. It's all about humility. It's all about giving back. And it's all about, like, I'm on the board of a huge film school. And it's crazy because you have these graduates that you were teaching, and at some point they reach up to you. They're like, hey, you want to be in my movie? And I'm like, hold on a second. They are casting us? Cool. That's awesome. You know, it's great when the student becomes a teacher at some point, right? So that's something that's truly like that full circle. And I love that. So yeah, feel free to reach out, shoot me a message. If I don't get back to you, that's probably because you've been tagged or marked as spam. So leave me a comment and let me know you left me something in the DMs and I'll check it out. But keep it PG. So that's all.
So I have time for one last question for you. What makes Tazito Garcia smile?
Challenges.
Okay.
Challenges makes me smile because anytime it's kind of like, it's impossible. You can't do that. I was like, watch me. Watch me. Yeah. And that's ultimately what it is, right? So, yep.
Well, that's awesome because I mean, there's challenges in life all the time, and no one is going to be chasing your dreams except for you. So you got to learn to do some running and action for sure.
And if you're not going to be the first one to dive and take a chance or invest in yourself, why should anyone take a chance on you, right?
That's absolutely right. I really appreciate you being here today, Taz. It was very inspirational and motivational, of course. I really appreciate your time. Thank you to our viewers out there for tuning into the Today Show. I'm your host, Christopher Power. Our guest is the multi-award winner, actor, director, writer, producer, and director. Don't forget, Action Man of the Year and Mr. Action himself, Tazito Garcia. Head over and check him out at tazitogarcia.com. Everything on social media, Tazito Garcia. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channels. Head over to thedisabilitychannel.ca. Remember to have a fantastic day, chase your dreams, and smile to inspire.